To order at 7 p.m. I would like to begin by invocation by Commissioner Kennard and the pledge by Commissioner at Large Isom. If we all please stand.
Father God in heaven, in the name of Jesus, we ask you, Lord, to stand with us in this meeting today. Lord, open up our eyes, our minds, to go in a right direction and connect, and for the best interest of our community. We ask these blessings in your son's name, Jesus. Thank God. Thank you, Jesus. Amen. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This now bring us to our roll call. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Clark Griffin.
Present.
Commissioner Fields. Commissioner Henderson. Present. Commissioner Henry. Present. Commissioner Isom.
Present.
Commissioner Kennard.
Present.
Commissioner Warren.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Present.
Mayor Muhammad.
Thank you. Let
We have a quorum.
the record reflect that we have a quorum. Approval of minutes. The next item is approval of minutes for meeting minutes May 18th, 2026, and closed session minutes for dated May 18th, 2026. Is there any corrections to the minutes? If there are no corrections, Madam Clerk, can I have a motion, please? Motion was made by Commissioner Henderson. Is there a second support? Support. The motion was supported by Commissioner Santana Warren. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Fields. Commissioner Clark Griffin.
Yes.
Commissioner Henderson. Yes. Commissioner Henry. No. Commissioner Isom.
Abstain. I was absent.
Commissioner Kennard.
Yes.
Commissioner Warren.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes. Now, our next item is our approval of accounts payable. The next, is there a motion?
Support.
Motion was made by Commissioner Henderson, was supported by Commissioner Isom. Is there any discussions? General Lady from Fourth Ward, Commissioner Clark Griffin is recognized.
Okay, I had a question on accounts payable. First, it was one manager. It's one on Grand Avenue, customer sanitation, say February, March, and April, City of St. Joseph, $828.24. Can you let me know what that is?
Mr. Manager, that's on page number 1 at the lower bottom here.
I believe we regularly transfer monies back to St. Joe that has.
Excuse me, can you speak up, please? Yeah, probably.
I believe we regularly do a charge like this where we transfer money back to St. Joe that's involved with the one of the properties, I believe, on Graham Avenue that we collect the money on, but it's due to City of St. Joe. If
We collect the money from the city of St. Joe. Grand Avenue is on the beach, so that's Fourth Ward. So what money are we collecting for the sanitation and why City of St. Joe?
Excuse me, Rhonda, do you recall exactly what that is?
Not exactly, but I think it has to do with the properties, the 425 properties.
Yeah.
It's part of the agreement, and
Yeah.
it's something that's paid monthly to the city of St. Joe. And I don't know exactly or what properties it's related to, but it's been going on
Yeah.
quite some time.
Interesting. Okay, thank you. Oh, well, I have more questions. I
ahead.
still got the flow.
I got something I can share with you with that.
Well, they should know it, but I guess.
Honorable Chair, I can't give you a history lesson on Grand and sewer. When they decided to build those houses, they end up using St. Joe's sewage, and that's why we reimburse them, because they're actually using St. Joe's sewage line. And our emergency manager didn't think it was okay, didn't give us opportunity to regrain our sewer line. So that's where that money keeps going. And so I'm glad somebody else brought it to our attention, because that's another thing that needs to be fixed.
So all the, I don't know now since they couldn't answer, but I guess through the chair, the city manager again. So is all the properties on Jean Clark Park, are all of them using St. Joe sewer and not Ben Harbor, not paying Ben Harbor water? Because I know
I
all
bel-
that's Fourth Ward, so
I
that's.
believe we provide water, but I don't think we provide sewer, because I don't think we had a sewer line running anywhere over in that area before.
Okay, thank you. Okay, my second one is annual crossing maintenance, Grand Avenue, which is on the beach, is CSX Transportation, $2,257. Through the chair, city manager, can you tell me what that is about?
Mr. Manager.
This was some kind of agreement that requires the city to pay this to CSX. I'll have to get more detail and get it to you later. I don't recall right offhand exactly what that is, but it's been there for years, and we do pay CSX. That's just like we recently got a request from CSX. We had to put up a sign for a crossing.
Okay, so you oversee all the transactions, what's being paid, and you don't have all the details, we still paying them?
I've had enough detail to be sure that it's okay, but I don't keep this in my mind. No, I don't keep every transaction that's on here in mind.
City clerk, can you make sure I get that information? For both of those transactions? Thank you. Also, number 3, membership renewal for Jay Henry and Ron Singleton. Michigan Recycling Coalition, $250. Now, I know Mr. Singleton, he hasn't been a commissioner for, since January, so we paying a membership fee renewal for him?
Mr. Manager, it's on page number 3.
Yeah, through the chair to the city manager. And kind of tell us what this Michigan Recycling Coalition is about, too.
Honorable Chair, I could give the history lesson on that one too.
The city manager reviewing right now.
manager. I know that's your brother.
If she could, I would go ahead and, if you will.
In the past, the commission had opportunities to go to different training for different informational projects, and and I was definitely interested in recycling, because Benton Harbor is about 50, 60 years behind in recycling. So the mayor and the presiding commissioners, my colleagues, made me ask for permission to go to these, and I jumped through the whole hoop of going through committee, and finally they said, yes, I can go. The first year I went and got so much information, and the state of Michigan was helping us create recycling, and staff just drug their feet, did everything they could do to stop me from getting recycling. As of 2026, we still don't have recycling. And then Ron got involved in it, Singleton, and he went to the seminar with me, or the conference, And I guess because it's an annual thing that they just automatically paid it. But personally, I'm not interested in a project that the city is not going to support. It's a waste of our money for us to go to things like this if we don't have any support with our staff. So I'm just saying it's just probably something that passed through and that every year we get.
Okay. Can we make sure that this is paid, Henry, that's you, one, Commissioner Juanita Henry. I was thinking it was your brother. But anyway, can we make sure that, Mr. Stevens did not happen, he's not a commissioner no more? Even, I don't know how it happened, because I think this was in May, and he hasn't been a commissioner since January. So, okay, thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Kennard?
Mayor Pro Tem. I'd like to also talk to our attorney. Would you please get update on a lot of these things that is coming about, especially our finance, when it affects our finance, because we don't have a finance director in place. We're going to be keeping a much closer eye on our figures because the city is going under. Every time we look around, we're in debt for more and more and more. Thank you.
Are there any other more questions on the accounts payable? General Lady from 3rd Ward, Commissioner Henry, you recognize. Can you press the mic, please?
I've asked for a contract from about the Universal Utilities LLC. They told me that they were asking them for a contract, but that was weeks and weeks ago. And my question is, how does the city have a contract and don't have a copy of it? They have to ask the vendor, and they keep saying that they're going to send it and haven't. So I'm having a lot of problems when I ask for things and they're disappeared and they don't show up. There's a big red flag because this company was put on without our knowledge. And I know what the old company was doing, but this one was put on without our knowledge, and there's no contract. And nobody's being held accountable for that error. Thank you.
Duly noted, Commissioner Henry. Are there any more comments or concerns on the accounts payable? Commissioner Fields?
So I am trying to understand how many vendors we have for the grass cutting. So I see how do you say his name? Quazir. And then am I missing? I thought we had 7.
Mr. Manager, can you respond to that?
We've got, I believe we do have more than 7, but not all of them have been cleared on their first cut, so they don't necessarily all appear.
So have they cut though? And another reason I'm asking that is because we have city lots not cut next to lots we find. So I'm just wondering, are we caught up? And
Because we've been going through weather changes up and down, we've had, some of them have been able to cut all of their lists, some of them have not. They're still working on them though.
okay, so do you have a system as to you check with them per week, or how does the list part work? If
We
can
ask
bring
them
clarity?
to call in every day what they have completed that day so that we can get out and review what they've done before it gets a chance to grow back up.
And I asked because I know I've been checking with like code enforcement, and I believe maybe yesterday or just sometime within the week, it has been maybe 75 that were submitted lots. So how does that work? So do the turnaround is right away? Do they
typically it's right away. We authorize them to cut them every 2 weeks, no more than twice a month. And as we get in, I believe Friday, I recall, we got a list of abatement lots where they had been posted and given time to do it, and we immediately began to assign those to the people cutting that could handle the additional cuts, and they started on it.
Okay, so the example being they would have been abatement lots. You are correct. How do you assign those? Did we have a designated person for that?
No.
Or Quasir does?
We will
only-
assign them to whichever of the people cutting has the ability to go ahead and cut them.
Because I thought if I was recalling correctly, there was individuals that were doing like lots, and then it was the city ones, and then there were abatement lots. There's not a designated person for a designated duty? Okay, and what is our process, which this isn't, I guess, necessarily AP, what is our process for ticketing for abatement, say Benton Harbor housing properties?
I have a list that I'm preparing right now to send to both the Benton Harbor Housing Commission and also to Berrien County of their properties that are within the city that they should be responsible for keeping cut. And if they can't cut them, I'm asking that they pay us and we'll get them cut.
So how long do they get, being that they are an entity, but residents only get 3 days?
We have to give them time enough to answer back, in their process. And that typically may be a couple of weeks before we hear back from them.
Who voted on that process?
That's the
Because
process we've been using for years.
Okay, we'll revisit that. I think we should. Do you feel we should, Commissioner Henderson? Like legally, that is unfair. And I'm not, trying to be extensive or anything, but residents get 3 days, but companies and entities with equipments get 3 weeks. That's not fair.
If I might, part of the difference is individuals typically will have 1 to maybe 2, in some cases 3, but these entities have got a lot of them. And if they're going to cut them, even if they're using their people, it's going to take them some time to get out and get around and do it.
Right, but they should have a process just like the city does. And one particular property has been uncut and empty for like a year. So we just need to have a better process for that, because they ought to have a cycling or checking process just like we do in regards to keeping their properties that HUD has funding to cut for.
Commissioner Kennard?
The grass cutting, I know the cemetery is one of our largest properties, I guess, grounds to be cut. How often is that cut, and is who inspects to see that it is cut neatly? Because there are families that is complaining about the way that the cemetery is being left and uncut, and it looks horrible.
Mr. Manager?
I asked Public Works to monitor what's being done at the cemetery on a regular basis. They cut continuously. They just go from one part to another and keep going at it. But again, they too have had the problem recently with weather and the speed at which grass is growing, and when they can't get out, and then by the time they get back, it's growing up again. So they've been having their challenges, but we're staying on them to keep them cut.
Commissioner Fields?
So the operating expenditures, are we in this area, correct?
Correct.
So the mayor / commissioners, actual,
You're down too far. We're on accounts payable. Are there any more discussions on accounts payable? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Fields,
yes.
Commissioner Henderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry. No. Commissioner Isom,
Yes.
Commissioner Kennard.
Yes.
Commissioner Warren,
Yes.
Commissioner Clark Griffin. No. Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes. Motion passed.
Yeah, motion carried.
This brings us to our next update from our Representative Joey Andrews. Is anyone here from Representative Joey Andrews' office? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, please note for the record, no one or the representative is here tonight on June 1st meeting.
Noted.
This now brings us to our next comment, which is our citizens' comment. You have 3 minutes, speaker. Please make sure you sign in.
Tony Anderson.
Just want to talk about the water bills for a minute. So I have multiple properties in the city, like most of you probably know. I didn't get water bills in the mail for like 3 of my properties for like 2 months. And then all of a sudden I get like 3 shut-off notices and like 3 bills, one's for like $250, $387, $183. So I went down and talked to the people in the water payment center, and they're like, well, you should have known you didn't get your water bill. But it's like, you know, I got multiple properties. I don't keep track in my head, like when I get water bills. It's like asking the city, like, did you pay your gas bill? Did you pay your electric bill? Did you pay the dry cleaning for the police officers' uniforms? Like, who knows that? Do you know that, city manager? Like, exactly when all the bills are due? Probably not. So I was like, hey, can you at least refund me the late fees? Like, I use the water, fine, whatever, you know, I'll pay the bills, I always do. And they refused to waive the late fees. So I went up, talked to the city manager's office, his receptionist, and she's like, yeah, I'll ask the city manager tomorrow, I'll call you back. I never heard back from anybody. So I was wondering if anybody could waive the late fees. Do you have an answer for me?
I do not. I'm not aware of the situation. How much are the late fees?
I don't know. They're not like listed on the bill. It's just prior balance. I'm sure it includes a late fee.
I'll get with the water department and find out and see if there's anything we can do on it.
Okay. So they're due on the 6th or the 5th, June 5th. Like if I come in tomorrow, I might have an answer.
Can't tell you for sure because I don't know what my schedule is in the morning. But we'll get in touch with you.
That'll work. And I appreciate your persistence with the mowing. Like especially with the county-owned properties. Like I don't know why they have 2 weeks and other people have 3 days. Like figure it out, right? So that's all I got.
Thank you.
Sam Yates.
Hello.
I'm Sam Yates. I own the property, 729 Highland. The house next door to me has been burnt, and city came over and pushed the rest of it into the basement. And it's been 3 years now. I don't bash my city at all, but I'm fed up. Nothing has been done, and I very much understand that it's a process when a person owns a property. I know it's a process, but if you're not hounding those people who own the property, sending them tickets, doing something about it, making sure that they get there and clean up their property, is never gonna get done. It's never gonna get done. I'm living next to asbestos. Me and my grandkids, we're living next to big raccoons coming out on them when they trying to play. It's so much trash. One of them gonna get hurt, could cut themselves, and then the next step is suing the city. And that ain't even something I wanna do. I just want whoever own that property, I just want y'all to bolt down and do something to get them to clean up the property. Mr. Little and Michi came out about a week ago, and I want to get my property fenced in, but I can't get my property fenced in because all the trash, they started dumping from the alley, which belongs to the city. I got pictures too and videos. It's so much trash that the property owners don't even own this. The city own it. That's sitting, everything on my property line. Then it's this big old tree that's next, that's on the other part of the property, that's growing over into my yard. All the weeds, all the everything. And I'm not responsible for that. I'm not responsible for that. I'm not paying nobody to do nothing because that's not my job. It's the person that owns the property, and it's the city to clean up all that trash that's in the back. So when Mr. Little and Michi came out, they say, well, we can have someone to push it over, but it's gonna put a lot of holes and stuff in your grass. I say, you know what? That ain't really the main thing that I'm worried about, holes in the grass. What I'm worried about is that the little bit you talking about push over, I'm not even studying it. What I'm studying is that the trash from the front all the way back to the alley. So you come out and say you're gonna just push this little bit over, it's not helping me at all. I'm tired, I'm fed up. I got the most beautiful house on the block. I could have took my money and rebuilt anywhere, but I build in the city, I pay property taxes, and I just need something done about it, y'all.
Thank you.
No more comments?
Thank you. This now begins to our next item, which is the budget hearing. At this time, we will open the budget hearing regarding the fiscal year 2025 through 2026 budget amendments, millage rate for fiscal year 2026 to 2027, and fiscal year for 2026 through 2027, the budget. This now brings us to budget item number 1, which is fiscal year 2025 through 2026. Mr. Manager.
I believe this is our 25-26 is our budget modification that's required prior to the end of the year. Basically, what happens is as some line items may go slightly over what was budgeted, where some others may be slightly under, before the budget year ends, we're required to have a balanced budget. We have to do modifications to add additional money where they may have gone over, and we have the flexibility to use where some of them are under that money to balance out the other. Overall, when it's all said and done, I believe we were $603,189 to the good on that.
Is that all you had for your amendment for 2025-26? Are there any concerns or questions from the city commissioners? General Lady from 3rd Ward, Commissioner Henry, you recognize.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Well, I'm just looking at the approval of 25-26 budget, and seems like the 3 or 4 funds that are mentioned some were over expenditures, over the revenue that was budgeted for 25. I'd like to know some of the information as to maybe why, or a reason. Like I'm looking at something that's kind of obvious, permanent public improvement. There was $201,389 revenue budgeted, and there was only $1,000 expenditures. So that kind of make me want to ask the question as to why. We already know general fund is always behind, and the 2025 budget showed that. It was $2 million. What do I want to say that? Yeah, $2 million, a little over $2 million under or spent over revenue. So I just need to know if there's a reason why. Are we going to look forward to 26, 27 having the same kind of transaction?
Mr. Manager?
Typically, every year you have some balancing like this that takes place. It's a standard part of the process. Some line items you will underspend because it's the need isn't there, and others, things will come up that you don't anticipate that will cause you to have to spend over, and you simply balance it by the end of the fiscal year. Yes, you would anticipate this in the future years.
Is there any other questions or concerns on fiscal year budget amendments for 2025 through 26?
So where is the overages that we were over 4,000 or so for commissioners and mayors training? And where are we at to date? Because we were over that 4,000 before a couple more travels for the mayor.
Mr. Manager? Can you repeat that, Commissioner Fields?
Per city manager, we were over, like a month or so ago, for over 4,000 for the sake of travel training from the budget that was basically more or less explained to really drafted for the mayor because he's the only one go places. Commissioners don't. And at, again, about a month ago, we were over, 4,000 you informed us of, city manager, and it's been more travel since then, which wasn't by the commissioners, but where is the up-to-date overages?
Ron, can you help with that?
And see, the problem is, which is one of the reasons why I asked for us to get the agenda items as soon as possible. Again, as we have referenced, myself, Mayor Pro Tem, Commissioner Clark Griffin, Commissioner Emma Kennard went to the MML training, and they actually have work sessions maybe 2 weeks prior about topics. They are onboarded and a lot of more communication along the way, so that even if it is a big packet that we get Thursday by noon, possibly it would not be new. And that's not the case for us. And so we don't have time, or we're not allowed time, so to speak, or requested necessarily time to say, hey, let me explain this to you. This has changed, which I feel like at whatever juncture that we were becoming over on the travel, that should have been like a conversation, an email, and more tightly reined in, especially for the sake of new commissioners.
Mr. Manager?
I understand what you're saying, but unfortunately, this is something the way I'm involved in it, I'm in and out continuously doing something and working on this for a while. Something else comes up, like the meetings we had this afternoon. So I don't necessarily keep track in my mind of all that once we go through it and put it on paper. But did you have anything more on that, Rhonda?
Well, on the amended.
Can you come forward, please? Thank you.
Is this on?
Yes.
On the amended budget, the travel was over, but in total, the mayor commissioner's budget was running on track, so there is no budget amendment for the total year-to-date for the commissioners and the mayor department. So there, even though travel was over, there was something else that was under budget. So the two offset, so there is no increase in the mayor's budget and the commissioner's budget for the amended budget proposal.
So you're saying we broke even?
We've left it at the budget amount. There's still more invoices to process, but in looking at it, it looked like the budget amount was sufficient for the commissioners and the mayor department.
And I'm asking about that because we were told we couldn't go to training because we were over.
The travel was over.
But it was able to be balanced out. It could have been balanced out.
It may be.
It may
yes.
be balanced out.
Right, we're not done. We don't have all the invoices in. Best guess was
Invoices from who?
65.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The best guess was 65,000 for the mayor commissioner's budget was sufficient. So we didn't need to increase it.
Because we don't have any outstanding. The clerk does our reservations, and so we don't have anything waiting to come in. Our mayor pro tem is excellent at making sure we even have like parking receipts and everything brought in. So what is the outstanding information from who?
If you would end up having a special meeting in the month of June, say the budget doesn't pass, there would be more expenditures for your department because you all would be paid for attending another meeting. So there could be more expenses than we have right at the moment for the commissioner and mayor. If the mayor's traveling, there may be more invoices that I don't have from a credit card, and we try to estimate what your total is going to be as of June 30th. And right now, we think 65,000 is adequate. So there is no increase, but we're not done. We're not done. We haven't completed the month of June yet.
Well, we're done because we were told we couldn't do any more training. And this is the importance of conversations instead of just being told we're over, right? Because if you're told you're over and we're cutting back because we're applying for, then nobody should be traveling. Or what does that look like? If we're already over and somebody's invited to something, or if something else comes up, can you go or not? And then this is beyond you, LaRonda. So I appreciate that because that's even more clarity than was provided. And so we can stop. Thank you.
Okay, sure.
Commissioner Kennard?
Thank you. I'd like to ask, we were talking about this year and last year's, right?
This is this year's,
This year.
25-26, ending June 30, 2026. That's what
Okay.
this is.
One of the things I want to ask, because we didn't get an answer about the travel and the over our budget for the commissioners and the mayor last year. I didn't go any traveling, and none of the other commissioners did a lot of traveling, from what I'm understanding. So I'm trying to fit in. We don't get accurate, and when I ask questions, they said, well, the mayor traveled and it's supposed to be reimbursed. Where do the reimbursements show?
They show up in the revenue. They're never offset against the expenses. So expenses get incurred, they get booked in the travel expense. If some money comes in to reimburse, it comes up in the revenue area as a reimbursement. So even if it's paid, we have to budget the higher level of expenses because the reimbursement comes in the revenue line.
Well, when did this get passed that if you travel and at the expense of somewhere else, that you can be reimbursed? Should that have went through that we can set up something like that, that we get reimbursed later? Because I don't remember at any time that this went through the channel of getting reimbursed for travel, and it's not for your city's business, but it's something else that you're going and traveling.
It is the city's business, but it's just that we're not paying for it. That's just like if, say, something that one of the commissioners did that got the attention of somebody, and they contacted you and asked if you would do a presentation at a conference they got coming up. They'll pay the expenses and so forth. Then you do the travel, but you send them the receipts and they send you the money back.
Well, what I'm thinking about is we're in a tight squeeze financially here. And the mayor is over the head of a mayor's something, he says. And he's traveling a lot. He went to Ghana and places like that. If that is expense come out of the city's budget or out of the city's money.
Mr. Little?
It comes out initially unless they advance something, but then when it's all sent to them, they send you a check back for what you're being reimbursed. And that's what she's explaining. It goes into as revenue, and it's explained as to what the revenue is for.
But what I'm talking about is that we're late with some of the fees and things that we have to pay here. How can we afford to wait for reimbursements of things that we have? Is that managing properly?
We do that regularly and routinely on any number of areas. As a matter of fact, you may recall either last meeting or the meeting before that, I had a resolution before you to allow us to pay some of the grants that we're operating out of income tax, because in order to get reimbursed, we have to present them a canceled check along with the FSR in order to get the money paid back from the state. So we do that depending upon the different rules that apply to different situations.
Are these rules in black and white here for us?
They basically are in the grants that you receive from the state. I habitually ask them to allow us to draw advances. Generally, their rule is no, you get reimbursed instead of paid in advance. A couple of instances I've been able to prevail, and they'd go ahead and advance them, depending on what department and what grant it is. But it's incorporated in the grant itself when you receive it.
Okay, I'd like to ask.
So one more question in reference to that. If the mayor is traveling and out of town for whatever reason, when each month we are paid, do he receive a check too?
Yes, he does, because he's on city business.
Thank
Commissioner Fields? Oh,
Again, because there's not a clear explanation or communication process, is why it's so many questions. And it's not personal. And then me, as another commissioner, I would feel some type of way if a city manager would say that y'all don't ever go anywhere. So the budget is really made around the mayor's travel, which is what he said. And so, because it seems as though people are flustered or bothered by the line of questioning, and this is just facts. You know, the travel, and especially when I'm told that I can't go somewhere, and we have to hold on and wait, but all the travel, there's no reports back. Like Africa, how are we benefiting from that? What report do we get back from that? And I don't know, even after reimbursements, I feel like we still paid almost $3,000, but I can't go to like a $400 training. So I myself would actually almost be embarrassed as a commissioner being the city manager saying that it's planned basically around the mayor because the commissioners never go anywhere. So I just wanted to state that because I'm not bothered by anyone being irritated or bothered. If it was again, a time where a clear communication and things are being explained, or even an onboarding process for commissioners, which is non-existent. And then you can't go to trainings, but you can go to Jewish violence or violence prevention programs. That how we have violence in Benton Harbor that we're not addressing. That we have to be honest and transparent that the mayor isn't even speaking out about. So that's nice that he's going to that. But we would be doing our community a disservice by not even stating that or having some questions surrounding that. We haven't had anything collective here. It'd be cheaper to do something here and help our community for how much we'll be probably still paying from per diems and things of that nature for travel about violence elsewhere. So what would how does the residents feel about that? And so I am not bothered by people having or seeming tired from this line of questioning, because if it was clear communication, we wouldn't have to be going through all this. We just had a meeting earlier with in regards to Takata and the transit, and meetings have been happening, and they started with city official level back February, March. And again, I wrote an email inquiring about the status of it because different people from the county and whatnot have been trying to get, y'all passing notes on the phone right now while we talking? That is so rude, but sidebar. So different commissioners trying to get in touch with us, asking us, have the city manager brought you up to date? We had not been brought up to date. We had not had a meeting planned. After I wrote an email, he then wrote his own email saying I'm gonna have Rona start sending you guys out something next week. But we should have had that in advance.
Chair, it's a point of order. We're on the budget
It's a
amendment.
point
I
of
have a
order of you
question.
guys passing
I have a
phones
question.
and stuff around too.
I'm looking at the
It does-
agenda.
that- you
Point
should,
of
we
order.
got them printed out right here.
Point of order.
But we have them printed out right here.
Chair,
He
it's a
cut me
point of
off to say
order.
point of order, but they can
Point of
pass
order, Chair.
phones to look at the agenda.
Finish your.
Point of order.
I'm finished. No, I'm not finished. That's so childish. What to thank you for?
Point of-
You too
point of
old for
order.
that, Sharon.
Point of
You be
order.
rude when you want to be
Point
rude.
of order.
Point of order.
Point of order.
Commissioner
Thank you.
Fields, can you finish your comments?
And again, thank you. The point is that how are the residents benefiting from him going to Africa, him going to Georgia about violence, and we have violence right here. And so for us to be asking about this, and other commissioners are bothered, but again, not bothered because the budget is not even considering you guys because you don't travel, you should have a problem with that. This be just ridiculous, and it's divisive because we're activists, I guess, because nobody had anything to say when. Yeah, I'm done, Mayor Pro.
Commissioner Henderson, you
Thank you,
recognize.
Mayor. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Rhonda, I just have a question about the overtime. I noticed that there was a increase, particularly in public safety, for the overtime. How are we addressing that continue? Because each year it seems to be going up. Public Works, public safety, those budgets continue to increase and outpace our general fund. So how are we still making those adjustments to cover those expenses? Because every time you look, every year, it's an increase.
Point of order,
Mr.
Chair.
Mr. Manager.
Point of order, Chair. Are we still talking about AP,
The
or are
budget.
we talking about?
This is the
The
general.
budget.
Are we talking about
This is the
budget
budget
amendment.
This the budget
the
amendment.
budget amendment?
Yes.
Yes, on the
And-
budget amendment. It's a higher expense. That means you didn't see it.
What page are you on?
One.
Chair?
Yeah.
Page number 1.
Yep. Are you looking at that same?
She's
thing?
referring
Yeah,
to
there's a,
public
yes,
safety
I just
at
wanted
the
to know
bottom.
about the,
It says
that particular budget and how.
101,270.
Yeah.
It says higher grants, expenses,
Yes.
and lease adjustments.
Yeah.
Mr. Manager, can you respond to that, please?
And I have one other question about the $26,970 increase for the Medic One. So was there a vote to pay them? So what is this particular, go ahead.
Mr. Manager, can you respond to Commissioner Henderson? Her first one was on public safety. How is it that they have 101,270? On the notes, it says higher grant expenses and lease adjustments. That's her first question.
Since this is basically an accounting application.
Yeah. Am I on? I
Yes, you
can't
are.
tell. The higher expenses for public safety, they do have high overtime, but it's been running about the same. This is basically grant spending. They received a FEMA grant, they received an FDCVT grant. So it's kind of like the reimbursement for expenses. You have to show all the expenses, but up in the revenue, which you see 200,000, that was received for the public safety. So you've got the plus here and the minus here. It's the way government has to keep their books. So it looks like they're spending more, but they got money in to cover it. On the one question, I under budgeted. So it was supposed to be higher, and we paid about 100,000 to them this past year, but I under budgeted. So to get it up to where it should be for year end, we had to include 25,000 more for that. So that was a.
Thank you. Mr. Manager, can you respond to Commissioner Henderson's second question regarding MATIC 1? Was it paid for the amendment budget 2025-26?
That was my answer. I under budgeted.
Okay. Are there any other further questions or comments on the amendment budget for 2026 fiscal year? Commissioner Fields.
So along with, and I apologize, Commissioner Henderson, calling you Sharon, sorry, I apologize. But I along the lines of her question in regards to public safety, they are understaffed though. So are they not? So it would run overtime. Remember, you had a position on ICE, and then do they not write their own grants?
Mr. Manager.
Most of them they do, but that doesn't have anything to do with this. It's still a matter of the transaction itself, how much money comes in and how much is spent.
Right. So what my first question then that you avoided or didn't answer more or less was, are they not fully staffed?
Fully staffed.
As of when? Because didn't we just take a position off at Personnel Finance? Rhonda, did we have a position posted and then we took it down when he was cost saving? Remember, it was a public safety, it was a, because I asked about it at one of the last Personnel and Finance meetings, and you were explaining that you were taking them off because we were trying to be mindful of spending.
If I recall correctly, I said to you that if a position becomes vacant, we may not fill it. But the last position they had open that we authorized them to fill was the clerical position that they have. And there are no more vacant positions in public safety.
Deputy, through the chair, Deputy Clark, are we fully staffed?
Deputy Clark, you have the mic.
That is a tough question.
Yes or no?
Not really.
You're managing.
I'm sorry, what?
I said you're managing, but you're not fully staffed? Like you get by, but are,
We are managing, and as a public safety department, we're not where we should be, but we're working through it to the best of our ability.
And if I might, when I answer.
if I might, so, if I might, continue? I'm sorry.
Finish.
So we need to operate in truths. And so that was a clear question as to are we fully staffed? And again, some commissioners are to be just invested in this in regards to safety of the community in this regard, or are we fully staffed? And if we are not, our police should not be managing, just be merely managing, and then the people, when you ask the city manager, being told that we are fully staffed. And so we have how many on duty? 2.5, or do we have 2 per shift now? Deputy Clerk, that's for Deputy Clerk.
Deputy Clerk.
So currently, we have 3 PSOs that are working the street, and we have at least 1 person working the firehouse. So to be operational where we need to be public safety wise, we would need a total of 5 PSOs on a shift. And that's between firehouse coverage and road officers. We don't have a minimum staffing requirement on the police side of things, but we do on the fire side of things. We have OSHA rules that say how many firefighters should be on a fire scene, how many are assigned to certain positions, and early on when we were doing the public safety piece, we were fined by OSHA a significant amount because we did not have those numbers correctly. Currently, like I said, we're making what we have work. If we were to promote sergeants that are in charge of the shift instead of making an officer in charge, that would create some openings through matriculation. But as it stands, those positions, that's not happening right now. So,
And if I might,
Mr. Manager.
I think the point is being missed of what the question was. The question was, are there any vacancies that are not filled? And I answered no. Vacancies are determined by what the manager approves, and there are no approved positions that are not filled.
My question was, are we fully staffed? So I'm not
The
missing the
answer is
point of a
yes.
point that I made. That's crazy to say. I'm sorry to say that as a comeback. That's what you have as a comeback versus why we don't have the police force fully staffed. That wasn't even nothing to say though, really.
No, if you want to know why there aren't more positions, the answer really is in the budget.
But we're
You don't have
supposed
the
to
money
be-
to do it.
But to be OSHA compliant and things of that nature is not critical. So when we were fined, we got budget money to get reimbursed for travel for the mayor. This is why things are being asked. So we've been in a financial red since the emergency manager, which the city manager always makes reference of that. But we had Africa money, we have Georgia money, all this to be reimbursed. And then we have somebody at FMV that's not mixing chemicals for the water, that's there making more than a police officer will make. These are all important questions, so be bothered if you want to, but I operate in truths, and if we are penny pitching, but like at the personnel and finance meeting, I asked about that. Why are we, if we cutting corners or trying to tighten up, we're keeping somebody per the city manager at FMV so that they can get the mail and be there for eyes for him. And Commissioner Henderson was at that meeting as well. And then we have budgeted for the past 2 years per our financial director that's listed, is that we have budgeted for the past 2 years for someone to be assisting with getting income tax money so that we can be collecting more. But yet we haven't done that in 2 years. Yes, Ms. Rhonda.
That's okay.
Ms. Brown, you can respond.
The issue with the income tax, we did put back in the budget this year. So we can hopefully focus on getting a compliance person and increasing the income tax. So that is one change that is in this budget that you have. That's the next on the agenda.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Rhonda.
Mr. Manager, I want to go back to page number 1. At the very bottom here, it says $603,189. If I heard correctly, you said that's in the good for fiscal year 25-26 budget amendment year, correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Is there any more questions, comments, or concerns regarding budget amendment for 25 and 26 fiscal year?
So,
Commissioner Fields.
can you share like how the silver infraction?
We haven't got that far yet.
Oh,
Is there any more questions, comments, or concerns for Commissioner Isom? Sure.
Could you explain the lease audit adjustment? I see on a couple line items.
Yeah, it's on several line items, and it's been that way for 3 years. We keep track of the lease expenses for the rental cars and the vehicles and the trucks as an expense every single month when we get the enterprise bill. But thanks to the state of Michigan, in the accounting world, they've decided that they have to be treated differently, so you have pluses on one side, minuses on the other. The answer is 0 at the bottom, but you have to treat it as a revenue, an expense, and we don't make that adjustment until the end of the year.
Thank you.
So it's plus and minus.
Any more questions, comments, or concerns for budget amendment for 25-26 fiscal year? Hearing none, we're going to go to budget hearing item number 2, which is the millage rate for fiscal year 25-26. This is, it says item before the commission. Approval of ordinance established for millage rate for fiscal year 26-26. I'm sorry, 27. City manager?
Yes, this is a requirement each year to, that the commission approve the millage rates. And fortunately, we're pleased to say the rates are exactly the same as they were the previous year. There's no change in them.
Okay, so when it says justification, it do say here a decrease from 2025. So everything stay the same, correct?
Millage rates stay the same.
Okay. Is there any other questions, comments, or concern on budget hearing item number 2, which is the millage rate request for fiscal year 26 and 27? Hearing none, we're going to go to budget hearing item number 3, which is the fiscal year 2026 and 2027 budget. Mr. Manager?
Yes. This budget, as I believe a draft was sent out back, I believe, around May 13th. Since that time, as Ms. Hildebrand said, we did add a position for income tax and compliance. I believe it's is that a partial year position, I believe? Yeah. And, but other than that, it's basically the budget that was sent to you earlier with some minor adjustments. There was an increase in terms of what's anticipated in terms of property tax as a result of transaction that took place. I believe we lost, well, we didn't lose any because the money was being paid to St. Joe, but I believe the property that was part of that 425 exchange went back to St. Joe. But since we weren't collecting taxes on it, we didn't really lose anything. Yeah. But we did receive some additional property taxes from other transactions.
I'm sorry. Repeat that last sentence.
Yeah. Received some additional property taxes as a result of increases on other properties. I am holding down. Okay. All right. But that basically is pretty much what came out as a result of those final adjustments and so forth. The budget is within about $84,995 of being balanced.
Commissioner Clark?
like to have it explained to me. What is this parking revenue? I want to get a clarity on that.
The parking revenue projected is a combination of what we anticipate receiving from parking being paid at Gene Clark Park, at the canoe livery, and also what we plan to, as quickly as we can, implement parking downtown, which we hope to do in the next couple of months, that we'll anticipate we'll be receiving revenue from that also. That's why we're gearing up and preparing right now to have enough coverage in terms of parking attendants that will be driving through Gene Clark Park, canoe livery, through downtown, and also circling around our parks and so forth.
Could you tell me, how do you incur any revenue that's for the use of, if they were, a lot of the people that live there was an opening at one time that lets them direct into Gene Clark Park without going through that station there? There's still an opening there.
I'm assuming you're talking about the other end where the spikes were that are down now.
No, this is from the other side, by the water, the residents that live there.
That's correct.
Opening.
He's referring to the spikes.
Yeah.
That's the spikes.
It's got spikes
Yeah.
there now.
They have to go back up. Right now, they're down.
I know in the new section there, but there's an old section.
Oh, no, that's area blocked off.
Okay.
That's blocked off. So it's only two sections in right now. One of them is off of Grand Boulevard where the spikes are down. And then you have the main gate where people enter and they should be paying at the kiosks at the front entrance or at the beach. So there's two kiosks at the beach right now. So, Mr. Manager, I have a question. On page 3, which is the first page here, if you go to the bottom here, it says travel per commissioner is $1,600, and then the mayor is $10,000. Can you explain why there's adjustment for this fiscal year than last year budget?
I believe last year the amount of travel per commissioner was projected at $1,200 each per year. No, not each, but $1,200, but it was increased here to $1,600.
Each?
Is that accurate? Yes. No, not each, but total.
It is per each commissioner. So each from last year was $1,200, and it has been raised to $1,600 for this year per each commissioner.
Okay, per year.
Okay, thank you. The general lady from Fourth Ward, Commissioner Clark Griffin, you recognize.
That was one of my questions too, because I seen that it say assumption. And it says, other expense assumption, it says that assumption that commissioner, each per commissioner, 1,600. Mayor travels per mayor, 1,000. Yeah, it's a travel per commissioner, 1,600 per year. Travel mayor, 10,000 per year. How do we come with that? Is that something he's trying to change, or is that something done? How do you assume that when it's 8 of us besides the mayor? And to be honest, the mayor is a member of the commission. So to be honest, he should have the same amount of travel as us. Why would it be 1,600 for each commissioner, 10,000 for the mayor?
For the one person.
Mr. Manager, can you respond?
Yes. The mayor is actually the head of the commission and the official elected representative for the city to many functions and affairs. It's not abnormal or unusual that if a congressman or senator makes a request to have someone from the city to come to Washington for some particular function, they typically are not going to send an invitation for all elected officials to come. They're going to ask for the mayor, who is the head, or the elected head of the, is the chief executive officer of the city.
Commissioner Clark Griffin.
Okay, first of all, the mayor is not the head of the commission. We are all equal. He's the face of the city or voice of the city, or whatever you want to call. And that's still ridiculous. And a lot of his travel, I thought that money was just for travel and training, education. A lot of these events that he go to, like right now, to my understanding, he's at a Juneteenth thing in Lansing. I don't know what that got to do with travel, education, training. So this is definitely not something that I'm going to be voting for. And this needs to be amended, whatever we need to do, because it's not right. And like Commissioner Fields said, we were told by city manager that we could not go on a training trip, made it 20th through the 21st. And at that time, the mayor was in Canada. He said we was over budget, went for over 4,000, which we know we didn't make it because we know who do all the traveling. The Africa, several times, Washington, D.C., 4 days trips. And even when they say reimburse, we still paying for the gas because he's driving the commissioner truck. And he's using that way, and whenever he used that credit card that is in his name, that I believe should not be in his name, we're paying for that. So, no, that's something I'm definitely not in agreement with. This is ridiculous. But I'm not finished. And we know last year that the mayor went over budget. This should not be allowed to be over budget in the first place. The city manager oversees that. So we should not be going over budget is for anything, especially the travels. I had a question on page 3 about the sewer. It said increase 3%, the sewer revenue. Increase to offset wastewater treatment increase. Can you explain that to me?
Mr. Manager.
Through the chair, city manager, through the chair.
The Joint Sewage Board approved an increase in sewer rates for the upcoming year, beginning July 1. That is across the board. It will affect everybody and every community in this county that gets service through the Joint Sewage Board.
Okay. Also, it say 3%. Yeah. Okay. Also, when it says finance director, right? This is for additional staffing, I guess, that we are planning on hiring. It says finance director, January the 1st, hire with Plant Moran 10 months at $50, 50% of hours. Are we saying that we're going to hire finance director January the 1st and then still keep Plant Moran for 10 months at 50% of hours? Or explain that to us, please.
Mr. Manager.
Did, I believe the previous year, we budgeted for the hiring of a finance director at some point in the year, and allowed also that Plant Moran would be necessary for there to be an overlapping period to help get that person brought up to speed to where they would be able to continue and carry out the obligations of that office on their own.
Now, what we did was when we hired Mr. James Williams as finance director, we agreed that Ms. Rhonda would be still on and training him for 6 months. It had nothing to do, unless we're calling, since she's contract through Plant Moran, we're calling Ms. Rhonda Plant Moran. Okay, but we said 6 months. This say 10 months. And we didn't say nothing about a 50% of hours either. So that's not, that's what you're talking about, it was 6 months.
Well, with all due respect, it's just a guesstimate in any event. You don't know for sure when and if someone will come on and be hired. But the plan is whenever they do, there'll need to be a transition period.
With all due respect, this is a budget, and we're doing the budget, and we need to be precise. And we went from 6 months to 10 months. Nobody approved 10 months. So this needs to be addressed. That's something needs to be amended. Also, I see where it say This is part of the additional staffing. No, this is where it's a wage increase. Non-union 1%. AFCFME 1%. Police 1%. So we're saying that we're only gonna give them a 1% increase, and that includes, I believe AFCFME is the public works. And they're definitely on the page. So are we saying we only getting 1%? I know it's gonna have to be negotiation. You know, I do negotiate. I did a year, so I don't need that explained to me. But we are doing the budget, and that's the suggestion. So am I clear? Is that what we saying?
Mr. Manager.
That was just an attempt to try and provide something in the budget. But with our financial position being as it is, with the requirement that is being placed upon us by the Department of Treasury to try and contain costs, we're really not in a position at this point to offer any more than that until we can get a handle on what all is going on with these. I've had initial negotiations already with a couple of the bargaining units and basically asked them to extend their contract until we have an opportunity to see if what our situation is going to be in terms of our ability. I agree wholeheartedly that they deserve an increase. All of the employees do. But it's a matter of, do we have the money to do it? And we don't.
Okay, and I'm glad you said that. I knew you were going to say with the condition that our finance was in. Okay, so our finance, we're in such a bad position that we can't give more than a 1% raise, yet we're going to hire 4 additional parking attendants, right? From May to October, coverage 14 hours a day. I would think that our public work, public safety, all these were more important than a parking assistant, because I know public safety assists with parking anyway. And then also additional 30,000 of contract service for the income tax compliance. So I think we need to be treating our employees that we already have, the staff that is already here, as if they are, because they are important, and trying to give them a raise if possible, or make sure, even like public safety or public work, that we have a sufficient amount of workers so it's not a strain on all of them. Instead of trying to hire additional parking assistance, to me is not as important. So if we got money to do that, then some of that money can go to public works and some of the employees or whatever employees that's already here. Treat your employees that we have now, because they're underpaid, before we hire for additional employees that could be covered by other departments.
Mr. Manager.
There's no argument that our employees are
Definitely not arguing with you.
underpaid. That began again with the slashing of their rates by the emergency manager when they were there. They've been behind ever since. But the situation is such that without the expected additional income that those parking attendants would help to generate, the money would not be there either for the parking attendants or for public works. Rhonda, do you recall at our high point when we were just closely monitoring the Gene Clark Park, what kind of revenue we brought in that year?
It's over 150,000 from
And when we didn't have parking attendants, what did it?
It was over 100, just over. We've lost some revenue with that.
So that's the whole point of that, and that's what one of those items that we provided to Treasury as a means of trying to increase revenue, that we would be expanding our parking and covering the parking at a level where we would realize an increase in revenue to help handle and offset all that we're having to do here.
I have a question. While we're still under additional staffing, could one position be made available to help in code enforcement division? That can be opened up and that will assist with making sure that we be in compliance and making sure grass cutting, you name it, be back open for them.
It's my understanding that right now, with some of the PSOs that we have, that they are also assisting in terms of the code enforcement. So we do have more people out now.
What was
Mr.
my
Fields?
Okay, a couple things. Because we've been talking about ways to save us money, and also partner, if you will, with community entities such as Michigan Works, Youth Solutions. I have, since my onset of coming here, have pushed for a relationship to utilize youth, which we could have them at parks and things of that nature, so that we didn't have to have porta potties and fear of endangerment, as well as possibly even helping at the beaches. But I'm not really understanding, and I have repeatedly asked about that. And the reason it is important is because are we penny pinching or we're not? So we have 10,000 that we can budget for mayor travel. But then we're cutting elsewhere. A 1% raise is not even a cost of living raise, right? Which, we know that. And I don't know, Rhonda, since we're calling on you for a resource through the chair, do you recall when the police was actually managing the beaches? What was our revenue when they were actually enforcing and doing that, as well as how much code enforcement has brought in from enforcing and with part-time and utilizing like the fire department and different individuals to pull them in to help with code enforcement, how much they've brought in? Well, I do, like just under like $500,000.
That's
Right.
correct.
And so they're real. I think they cost cut and better than we do, basically. And again, I can't stress enough that they write majority of their own grants. So things that we're voting to accept for grants are really them writing for themselves. And we, without having 4 or 5 assistants, right? They're managing all of that. Without having to pay additional staff, they respond to emails, things of that nature. So even understaffed and without personal assistance. Parking meters. We bought parking meters for downtown. What happened with that? And how do we balance that money out? Can Rhonda speak to that in regards to when we bought them? Because city manager, I couldn't believe that you could remember when that happened. But I want to know when they were purchased. We didn't do it, so where are they? Did we return them? Are they sitting and waiting for us to maybe circle back to that? Because I remember that initiative being really pushed about downtown parking meters and how it was a good, situation for us. But what happened with that? Do we still have them?
We never got them. We told them to hold up and cancel the order.
So we didn't pay for them at all?
I don't believe we paid for them, or if we did, we got refunded, I believe. I'm not sure. But we actually didn't accept them because with the cost of them, and we were still only adding 2, we had some discussions among ourselves, and determined that the less costly and most productive way to do that was to put up QR codes where people could take their phone and bring up the QR reader and pay for their parking on that. If we kept those meters, we only had 2 locations they were going to cover. The cost on them was rather high, but there was also a $4,000 a year maintenance charge that went on each one of those meters. So we determined that what we would do instead was move the one from the Canoe Livery to downtown, possibly move one of the 2 that are out at Gene Clark Park. But if we provide enough QR codes and just 1 meter, that we tell people where it is in case they have some reason to want to use a meter, that would be the most cost-effective way for us to implement that.
So if I could, and be provided our purchase and, or refund, that AP and then that revenue, or however, when it's reimbursed, the returned process, if that could be provided to me in black and white. And again, my question was that it seems like some things we're reinventing just based on like ideas. Was it not correct that in the past that public safety managed the beach? And so if it's a shootout or some shooting and the police still need to go anyway, why doesn't it make sense for the police to actually do that versus how many part-time?
4.
4 to cover 14 hours a day, we can have 1 police officer so that then they don't need to be called out after the fact.
Mr. Manager.
It was my determination that the police officers have plenty enough to do currently with what their responsibilities are.
Right,
now
I was asking for an
and enforce.
additional one that could actually help with that. So that
Well-
we could have more of a police enforcement. Like, we didn't even, who was there monitoring it this weekend? Did we make any money?
I
Or did
don't-
we monitor it?
Not yet. They start training this week, and we'll be putting people out in the next week or so. This past week was spent getting the vehicle ready because that one was being swapped out to get one of the hybrid vehicles that was
Okay.
bought to do it. But the parking attendants are costing you $15 an hour. There are no benefits, and they're scheduled to fit in with each other as needed to provide the coverage.
Okay, awesome. So how much would be Michigan Works, Youth Work staff?
Michigan Youth Works staff has none of that part of the thing. We've been talking with Michigan Youth Works, and we have used them for the last several years, but they have been repeatedly clear to us that we cannot count on them as staff because theirs primarily is a training program. When people go through their training and are available, then they're available to us for the time period that they will allow them.
Right,
But we can't count on them as staff to be here between 7 in the morning and 10 at night like we can staff people.
What, I was previously at Michigan Works, right, and worked with the Youth Solution team, right? So, that's like James Gunter, Save a Lot, and different individual or different companies could have them in rotation. You are giving them experience. I don't know how much experience you need to be a parking attendant, right? But it's free labor. Like, I don't know how much training you need to be at the park to just make sure nobody's tearing up the bathrooms so that we don't have porta potties. But without getting into all of that, it was more of the problem is not that they can't have anybody, but they can't have consistent communication for the most part. Just like from day one at Personnel and Finance, I asked about that. It took you a month or 2 to get a meeting, right? Remember, Vic Shonda was here actually on accident because she thought she was coming to a different meeting about Juneteenth, but she was at that meeting and said, hey, you're talking about porta potties, we can be a solution for that. So I'm not understanding, like even AmeriCorps, I suggested a lot of things. I worked at Capstone, I worked at Catholic Family Charities, AmeriCorps, and different things of that nature. And you would say, or you had said, well, who's going to supervise them and manage them? Maybe one of your assistants could help with that for us, for the sake of having free labor. I am not understanding how one is a good idea, cutting back, say, for example, on the commissioners for travel, training, whatever, and then it's 10,000 in another bucket, then it's a 1% rate. Like, how are we figuring these things? And if we're penny pinching, why aren't we utilizing to the best of our ability, maybe using support staff to communicate? You have Rona, you have clerk, an assistant. What is she to your assistant, so I can have that exact title? Assistant city manager? Like, then you got Kiera, then it's the CBG. Like, can't nobody help with getting free labor? And so I'm stressing all these things because you will say, oh, I'm, like, you are a person, who's interviewing the park attendants? You, right? You personally interview them?
Along with the lady that handles it.
So you're not out of anything, though, is the point. And so you're overworking you, not utilizing staff that we already have. Right? We have an intern that was supposed to be free. We're paying, what, over $7,000? How much are we paying for her? She's over there to help you, too. I just happened, very nice lady. She just was there one day. And, like, so nobody can help with coordinating and having, James managed having rotation of a front desk staff through Michigan Works. He didn't go without. So their point is that they would have to have a process to have another person lined up. But you can even refer people, say, hey, go get signed up with this program, and then you can ask to come to the city. Like, we could figure that out, but we're not even looking into that because it's not of interest to you, and I yield.
We're not only just looking into it, we anticipate using them. And we will have them involved with us with all of the parks, as much as personnel as we can get, along with the summer youth that are being employed through CDBG and some others that we hope to get. But when we finish, we've got primary responsibilities to be taken care of in a number of areas, and we have to have people who are able to perform those to do it. I can't send them off doing something else at the expense of more important things that need to be done. Right now, I've got one person in our office that's out due to serious illness. And when that occurs, everything that person did still has to be done, and we wind up, myself and others, doing it.
Right, and I'm not talking about, I'm sorry, can I speak?
Commissioner.
I'm not talking about a specialized job. A parking attendant, somebody to be at the park so we don't have to have a porta potty. That is not skilled labor.
Mr. Manager.
We're not talking about somebody just to be there. We're going to have people there if we've got them available, summer youth as well as people we can get through Michigan Works for some of that. But these parking attendants are trained in driving this vehicle that goes by and reads these license plates and issue rights and issues tickets if they need to be where they're done. These people are paid to and trained to do that, and given other responsibilities, we've got to be able to count on these people being there when they should be.
Right,
Now-
no, and they are ages, I can't remember, 16 to 24. So these aren't like babies. They are going through Michigan Works, and it's not as if they don't or haven't had a job before. That's not always the case. Like Donnie Meek's son had a CDL already and things of that nature, and actually went through the program just to go through it. So we're devaluing our community youth that we could be giving them a job and giving them something to do if we're so worried about them as a city. And we don't have to pay them. They're insured at everything. We have to do nothing. And you get to interview them, screen them. It's always a workaround or
Doing that.
doing what, city manager? Doing what?
Ready, we will be bringing them on board.
Okay, I help you monitor that, and I'll give accurate feedback for that, because that's not what I'm being told.
So, Mr. Manager, I have a question.
I think Commissioner Henderson.
So, two things. With the parking attendants, would they carry a body camera? Because I'm more afraid, as you see the emails I see, we have people that will complain. Will they carry body cameras to protect them in the city? That's my first question, then I'll ask the second one later on.
No, we don't have body cameras to give to them, but they will be backed up and in communication with the police department if there are problems where they need some assistance. As a matter of fact, in one of our more recent meetings, we talked about actually assigning somebody from the police department to help cover those areas so that if they need backup and assistance, there'll be somebody to do so.
Okay, because I just want to make sure, because we can get rowdy and that one individual can say something, didn't mean to say it, but not body camera, it can put liability on the city. Now, my second one was here, if you recall, on February 9th, which was a Monday, I sent the email out about cost savings, and I'm glad to see here that we're moving utility building in-house. So I'm glad to see that. That's part of the other half of the $1.8 million I was talking about referring to savings. Do we know when we can move our water plant back in-house that will save us about $1.3 million? Because right now we're paying F&B $105,000 per month. And so if my math is correct, that's almost $1.3 million that we can save. That will give us enough coverage from January into April of every year to cover that $420,000. Have that contract been looked at as we can bring it in-house? Not saying sell a water plant. I'm referring to bringing in-house. We hire the staff, so forth.
Very honestly, sir, we have no chance of bringing that in-house anytime soon for a number of reasons. The main reason is that in order to operate a water plant, they have to have certain level of certifications in order to do that. We had employees at that water plant for years and years and years that never, they took the test for years and years. They never passed it and they never got the certification. That's the reason why we went to contracting with F&V. But the problem actually is deeper than that, and it goes to just part of what we were talking about a little earlier. When the emergency manager came in and sliced those union contracts and the rates that they were making, that's one of the problems we have with Public Works. I've heard it a dozen times in terms of talking with them, that many of those employees were up to $20-something an hour, and emergency manager came in and slashed it. They are right now at $16, $17, and $18 an hour. Unfortunately, it's something that happened. There's nothing we can do about that. But the problem it presents for us, as I have mentioned previously, after our people didn't pass the test, I got a hold of a school that is training people to get the certifications to be able to operate a water plant. The guy asked me to send a job description and what our pay rates and so forth are. I sent them to him, asked him if they could help us to get somebody so we could run our own water plant. The guy came back and said, Mr. Little, we can't do anything to help you. I said, why? He said, because our people who are training here, who've never worked in a real water plant other than the training facility we have here, they graduate from here and they're making twice what you're paying. And the problem with that is because they are part of a union contract. If a person walked in the door and said, I'd like to work for the city and I'd be willing to work at your plant. I've got the certifications, but I've got to have at least $30 an hour. We don't have the ability to do that because if you make that kind of increase for one person that's in the union contract, you got to make it for everybody.
I mean, I'm not going to go back and forth because, for sake of time, but I did want to add on that, you know, I looked at other municipalities at, I think, $34 an hour for the water plant. Moving forward to Public Works will be feasible with this $1.3 million, and if my math correct, that will leave us with $500,000 remaining in the good. If, like I said, again, I'm not into the union contracts. I'm still in elementary college on union contracts, so I'm not going to be like I'm the president of that part department. So we're going to go to Commissioner Clark Griffin, then followed by Commissioner Henderson.
Now, did I hear the city manager correctly? He stated that the interviews have already been made. The training starts this week for the attendance. Now, if I ain't mistaken, ain't we going over the budget now? And gonna vote on it today? So are we having a hearing and things are already being done that we talking about and haven't voted on yet?
Mr. Manager, can you explain that?
Yes, because the parking attendance is something that we do every year. It's not something that's new. It's just that the only part of it that's new is a plan to expand parking to downtown. But the other part of it has been a year-to-year exercise.
I had one more question, and I'm just gonna add to that, but I know it's not new, but if we voting on it today, we having hearings, and it should be even done till yes or no. But anyway, also, I don't see on for 2026 to 2027, I don't see anything about election. I've seen 2025 and 2026. Don't we have a primary? Are we this year?
No. No
I
primary.
thought the
been
city
heard.
clerk said, we don't?
No.
I thought the city clerk said we had a primary August the 5th. We do have something. Right, so we do have election August. That's what I thought. Okay.
Oh,
Thank you.
okay.
Okay, thank you.
Did you answer the question, Mr. Manager, about where is that in here, the pay?
And it's in the 43,050 that, or rather the proposed budget, 38,206. The 38,206 is showing on page 5 by elections. The last column says 26-27, and that's the page 5.
But okay, as long as I know that we're gonna have the election and the ballots and everything, because I knew it was an election.
So
Thank you.
that's on page number 5. It says election, 38,206. It's right there in the middle. Commissioner Henderson? Can you hold the mic, please?
One is just dealing with the parking attendants, and I know we've had those built into the budget for the last 4 years. I don't know who was hired the last 4 years for those parking attendants, but we've always had parking attendants. I don't know if people have filled those positions. I know there were 2. I know Pastor Jones' daughter even worked 1 year as a parking attendant, and some other youth that I know that worked as parking attendants. But my question or comment about the parking attendants, in terms of the police, I don't think they have the capacity to be at the parks as parking attendants, and I don't think that's something we should consider. But based on the amounts of money that we make at the beach, those positions should cover themselves, and that shouldn't really affect our budget because we're collecting some new monies that should be used for that particular line item, and even with the lawn mowing, making sure that the city is continued to be clean. Part-time people at what, 10, 15 bucks an hour. I think that will be sufficient. Yeah, do our police officers deserve more money? 100%. My husband is a police officer, so yes, I do think they deserve more money. But just knowing what I know, the people who work in this city love it. That's the only reason they work for our police department and for our cities, because they love it and they live here. Because they could go other places and make more money and do well and not have as much harassment and all the other things that go along with being a police officer or fireman in the city of Benton Harbor. So all of those officers that's here, they want to be here, not because they have to. And I'm speaking from somebody that I know they there because they want to be there. And my last comment I have a question about community and economic development and parks and recreation. I see the budget for that has gone up. Have those monies been transposed, moved, or it was just a decrease in community and economic development, but parks and recreation went up? Is that just because of the expense of keeping up our parks and the things that relate, the grass cutting? That budget went up to $319,000 for the 26-27 school year. Year.
Mr. Manager.
Yes, ma'am. Those costs of maintaining, cutting them, and so forth has gone up. And
then there was a decrease in community and economic development. Yes. Is that for any specific reason?
we have put more of the burden of that on the grants that we are administering and hiring people on the grants and trying to take some of the pressure off general fund.
Commissioner Fields.
For point of reference, I actually had spoken with appropriate staff in regards to the history as to how the parks have been managed. And so it's not new, or which shouldn't have been new, that the police at one point managed that. And it's not with the understaffed amount. It was a staff process where probably, again, where they were managing. But what I was saying was not to pull a staff, but if we had the availability of 4 part-time, we could, instead of like the situation we had where the police still had it to go. So how does that work when they still have to go when it's a real matter, when the parking attendants aren't trained police officers and it's a violent matter? What the parking attendants going to do what exactly? Present a ticket. So I understand all of that. My point of bringing that up was when I've inquired and spoken to different individuals as to things that are seemingly presented as cost savings, and this is a new idea, a lot of processes that were working were eliminated because it wasn't our city manager's idea, in a nutshell. So I'm not willy-nilly talking about things. I'm actually asking why things that had worked before had been changed at some point. And so again, my question in regards to the silver infraction, where is the generated income part to that? And then I will want to bring in part 2 of that question. So the first is for the city manager, the second is for the attorney, being that how are we processing that? Do we have, or how soon, since it was put through for us to vote on it, why isn't that legislative processes where it can actually then be a process of convicting or whatever we decided to do in-house, so it's not making any money because it's not being able to be utilized, for lack of a better word?
Mr. Manager.
We projected in here only $25,000 initially because we don't know what exactly, if you go to page 3, at the top under revenue, you see ordinance revenue, 25,000, and right next to it says civil infractions revenue. This being a new process, we're going through the components and details of getting everything set up, and having to still make some policy changes, some meetings that we still have to finish, and process also of working with BSNA to have the computer system set up so that when a ticket is written and it's indicated on it as civil infraction, or if it's a misdemeanor, that when they go to the window, that the cashiers be able to pull up that ticket so they apply it properly in the system and so forth. So there's a good bit involved in getting this all set up, and we are working on that.
Right. I remember you've explained that several times. So my point is what are we doing in the intern? So are we still giving out fines, but they're not enforceable? So that's code enforcement spending time on that for what to happen. And so what do you need this is a question for the attorney in order to enforce this, to actually represent us in this matter? And what should we be doing if it's going to take 3 more months, say, for example, because we voted on this, I don't know how long ago, but we still need to be having some kind of enforcement behind giving out citations, or it would be pointless.
So we can still enforce. We've been enforcing through the courts for many, many years, and we can still enforce through the courts. Like, for example, I was in court on last Tuesday, I'm sorry, we were off last Monday, but I was in court last Tuesday, and we were able to get $400 in fines for the city, even though we had to go to court. The whole point is you want to avoid paying me. Because that costs money. So it takes away from the city's bottom line if you get fines on civil infractions. The Civil Infractions Bureau is set up so that the ticket goes through the bureau and the fine all goes to the city if they plead responsible. If somebody wants to contest it and go to court and say, no, I didn't do this, then we're forced to go to court. But there's a process. I think the hard part for this is that it goes through BSNA. It goes through our software, and it's a software issue. We have to make sure that the ticket is getting entered into the software so that when someone comes in to pay it, it's ready to be paid. They can pull it up, have it on the screen, and not be wondering what the process is.
Right, okay. And I totally understand that, but I just needed to know, like, how long. So when we were asked to approve it, it's always, the energy, like, let's get this going, and then we'll be able to generate when is my question, basically. How soon and how long of a process, and that back for the city manager in regards to how long that it takes to be in. We already use them to an extent already, so we can just add this portion on. But again, we have residents complaining that citations are probably still given out to individuals, but they know it's not enforceable because we're basically not doing anything, even if code enforcement or public safety spends the time to go out, write the ticket or whatever be the case, what is happening, but we have them spending more energy on that that's not even enforceable technically, or we're not choosing not to because it's cost savings to not have you go to court. So if we had a turnaround time for it to be actually processed where we can find them and they can come to the office, like, so how long does that take, a month, 2 weeks?
Mr. Little?
I can't say for certain. I'm thinking it's going to take a couple of months.
Had the time already started, or is still going to take a couple more months?
Thinking it could still take a couple of months to really get it working the way we want it to.
So I have one question, Mr. Little. On page 3, versus the 10 months, versus the 10 months, can an adjustment be made in the language to move it back down to 6 months as the original language was back last year and the previous years for the financial director. See where it says January 1st, hire with Plan Moran, 10 months. Could we move the 10 months back down to the 6 months as the original language was in the previous years?
Yes, certainly.
So we can note that in the record. Madam Clerk. Okay. Mayor, you got any questions on the general funds? I'm sorry, the budget amendment 2026 to 27?
No, sir, Mayor Pro Tem.
Commissioner Eisen?
Yes, to the city manager, maybe Rhonda too, that 3% increase on the sewer revenue, how much that add up to? Maybe $1.50, $1 or something?
About it at the board meeting, and it's my understanding it's less than $1, something less even than 75 cents.
Okay, good, good. And I just want to say too, the reduction in the pension payment, I see we're gonna, that's a savings right there, that we're gonna utilize 50% of the surplus. Is that coming out that 600, the money we had set aside?
The 6 million, yes.
Yeah, yeah. That's good. And I just want to say this, that this is one of the first times we had to budget just early, you know, good timing, you know, and I just want to give kudos to the city manager, Rhonda, and the staff for putting this all together this early, you know, usually right at the end, you know, June 30th or something like that. So it was a great job putting this out here. I know there's some cost savings in it, and, you know, everybody won't agree on everything, but that's what a budget is. You know, you always can make those amendments. So, thank you.
Commissioner Fields?
A suggestion would be, how many lots do we currently own that's not generating us any income? And in fact, it's a cutting and a maintenance liability for us. I know there was an increase of purchasing lots at one point. So how many lots do we have? And if we could have an estimate of every 2 weeks, so they'd be $40. Say if we have 100 lots, how much that could be saving us, and actually then have some revenue for us, being that it would be on the tax roll.
I don't know the exact number right offhand.
Is there any more questions or concerns or questions on fiscal budget year budget? Mayor?
So, as far as the lots, the last number that I'm aware of, it was like over 400 vacant lots. But that does not, there's no audit on how many are buildable.
Hey, can I respond?
Commissioner Fields?
One of the reasons I brought that up is because that's how many we need to cut, right? So that's an additional expense for us. As well as, I know, for example, Cassandra Booker was trying to buy the lot next to her that's always taller than the fence, or near, so that she could have added on to, instead of a person coming and spend, how much, like $175,000 or something for a property, and then we have a city lot next door with grass that's never maintained. So it could have been a consideration instead of for people that were trying to do things of that nature, but it's not. It's just, we're not selling 400 lots that we have to cut. At the first cut, $26, and then 20 each additional, roughly twice a month, for 400 of them, because most of them have a little bit of grass, a little shot of grass, right? So that's just if we're penny pinching, and if we count quarters and coins. And then my last request is that we could have a budget item for communications, because I know Nick Gunn, who's another like assistant, basically more or less to the manager in regards to what he wants on social media, is budgeted for $300 a week, but it's coming out of his budget of some sort. But even maybe the mayor can negotiate his 10,000 to down to 9 aid so communications can have a little money to do some communicating with the residents. Just a suggestion, or actually a ask.
Mr. Manager.
Don't have a response at the moment on that.
Why? Like, I recall there was times when Commissioner Henry would say, I want this, I want that, and you'll say, okay, well, what can we move it from? If that's what you want, tell me where it can be moved from. So I just did that. So it's not a matter of you having, and this is what I mean, because it's not what you want to do, that is your answer. And that's disrespectful and inconsiderate, because it's not what the city manager wants, it should be what the city needs. And the Facebook post from Nick with that Nicholas Gunn, that he meets with the city manager and he's like, okay, put this today, put that today, it's not communications for real. And then public safety doesn't have a communications, and they manage a social media that's better than ours, because it has better information, better stats, things of that nature. And you can reach them and say, hey, a resident didn't understand what abatement meant or what this document was. The same day you can get something posted on social media, and they don't have a media team or a personal communications person. So again, it's not an ask, it's a request that we should have some things in a communications committee. And I really want to make a point of that, because I was put on the communications committee alone and was told that that's where people go to just be idle. And we're not doing that. I end up on personal and finance, right, if we recall this, because Commissioner Clark Griffin declined, and then it was like, let me see who I can, and I was the only one that wasn't on something viable, more or less, I guess. But we need to have a budget for a communications committee.
Mr. Manager, can that be noted? Thank you. Are there any more questions, comments, or concerns for the 2026-27 budget summary? Mayor.
I would just say, just to share some information, I was able to speak with the secretary, or the state treasurer, Rachel Eubanks, probably about a little over an hour at the governor's residence, and eyes are on Benton Harbor in a supportive way. And from her face, she was saying that the state treasury, the state of Michigan, is rooting for Benton Harbor, and they are supporting Benton Harbor. And she wanted for me to know that, and I'm sharing that with you all, because I was there on behalf. So I just want to bring that news back, and that's it.
Any more questions, comments, or concerns for the 2026-27 budget fiscal year? Hearing none, we're now going to open to the public comments. This is where the public will have 3 minutes to speak, only on the agenda item, which is 26-27 budget.
There are none.
Since there is no more public comments on here, the public hearing for the budget is closed at 9:04 p.m. This now brings us to a consent calendar. General Leader from 4th Ward, Commissioner Clark Griffin, you recognize.
I'd like to suspend the rules and make a motion that we lift or remove the moratorium on selling city lots, so that the city residents can buy lots without a special reason.
Support.
Madam Clerk.
Okay. Henderson, Commissioner Henderson? No. Commissioner Henry?
It's to suspend the rules to add the moratorium on here, on the agenda. To add that on about taking it off, yes. Yes, it's to add that to the agenda about removing the moratorium. Okay. Commissioner Isom.
No.
Commissioner Kennard.
Yes.
Commissioner Warren.
No.
Commissioner Clark Griffin.
Yes.
Commissioner Fields.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes.
And Mayor Muhammad.
No.
Motion failed.
This now brings us to our consent calendar. Does any commissioner wish to remove or separate any items on the consent calendar?
I want to separate 3.
Duly noted, number 3 is separated. If there are any other questions or concerns, the items should be separated besides number 3. General Lady from 3rd Ward, Commissioner Henry recognized.
I would like to see a discussion on number 6, please.
Duly noted. If there are any more that should be separated, can we have a motion?
Number 2.
Hang on, Commissioner Henry. We need a motion on the floor to support the consent calendar. Motion was made by Commissioner Warren, and there's support.
Yes.
Motion was supported by Commissioner Fields. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Henderson. Yes. Commissioner Henry.
I'm sorry, what we voting?
We're just voting on the consent calendar. We never did get the motion and stuff for that.
Oh, yeah.
Commissioner Isom.
Yes.
Commissioner Warren.
Yes.
Commissioner Clark Griffin.
No.
Commissioner Fields.
We voted on the consent calendar.
Yeah, just the consent calendar period. Minus 3 and 6.
Oh, I wanted to do 5 also, because we had a stop, and I want to separate 5. I'm sorry. Well, we.
Point of order, Chair.
Madam Clerk.
Middle of a vote, so it's
Point of order.
Point of order, we're in the middle of a vote, so it's either a yes or a no.
So we just need to finish the vote, and then you can go back to separate your item, yes.
Okay. Yes.
Commissioner Kennard.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes.
Mayor Muhammad.
Yes.
Okay.
Are there any other items on the consent calendar besides 2 and 6 that should be separated?
I'd like to discuss 5.
Number 5 is duly noted.
It's 3, 6, 6, 3, 5,
I
and
said 3,
6.
5, and 6.
Mr. Chair, so did we just vote on the consent? So if we voted on what was in the consent calendar?
It was 3 and 6.
So you, wait, so, wait a minute, you can't, so if we voted on a consent calendar, then you can't come behind that and say, I want to pull this out.
Okay, right, but I was actually about to say something, but I wanted her to say what she wanted to say, so I was about to have my hand up for mine. I had my hand up for mine, but then she was saying, wait, we didn't even do, so I thought that needed to happen first. So I was trying to separate mine, but she was trying to get y'all attention, so I could have just kept talking, but I noticed she was trying to say something, so I was trying to add 5. It just didn't happen right, so at this point, what we doing? Excuse me,
So-
Henderson, you can, Commissioner.
3 and 6, that's.
Right, but
Getting ready to vote on.
was I not trying to say was I not though?
I'm gonna rescind my vote if y'all keep talking this misunderstanding.
It's okay, you don't have nothing to say, but it's some real stuff. This is crazy. This is what I'm talking
Madam Clerk. Can you, City Attorney?
So you were in the middle of the vote when you mentioned that you wanted to take 5 off. If anyone would like to rescind the vote or re-vote to take 5 off, but you did just vote to just take 3 and 6 off of the calendar. I'm sorry, off of the consent calendar.
Ethel was separating something. I put my hand up to separate, and then, listen, it's fine. The stuff that we decide to be serious is crazy. Nothing to say when it's,
Point of order, Mayor Pro Tem. Thank you.
Madam Clerk, can you finish? Sorry, Madam City Attorney.
You technically voted, you voted on 3 and 6.
Right.
Does anyone want to rescind that vote and take 5 off so you can talk about 5? You could do that.
Me too.
Because I want us to be able to have a conversation on anything that we want to talk about. So I'll rescind my vote on that, from a yes to a no.
Madam
Same.
Clerk, can you call the roll?
So this is the roll to rescind the votes for the consent calendar. And we're gonna add 5, and so now it will be 3, 5, and 6. And this will be the vote for that. Okay. Oh,
Since we get it like this, I wanted to do 2 as a conversation piece.
okay, so now this will be a revote, this will be a vote to rescind, and now we're gonna have 2, 3, 5, and 6
Correct.
on the, okay. Commissioner Henry? Commissioner Isom?
Yes.
Commissioner Kennard? Commissioner Warren?
Yes.
Commissioner Clark Griffin?
Voting to separate those, right?
Yes, those are gonna be separate.
Okay, yes.
Commissioner Fields?
Yes.
Commissioner Henderson?
No.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes.
And Mayor Muhammad?
Yes.
This brings us to our first separate item, which is item number 2, the ordinance of establishing millage rate request for fiscal year 25-26. Is there any questions, comments, or concern on item separate number 2? General Lady from 3rd Ward, Commissioner Henry, you recognize.
We talked about it, and I just wanted to make sure that the residents got an understanding of what that millage rate request was. Wasn't up on the screen. We need to be more transparent with the people to know what is coming up. So that's the reason why I asked to pull it out. We need to get that information up to the people so they'll know.
Is there any other questions, comments, or concern for separate item number 2? Hearing none. Commissioner Henry?
Is there any information that we can share?
Mr. Little? On number 2, which is the ordinance establishing the millage for rate request fiscal year 25-26.
25, 26. It should be 26, 27.
On here is reading fiscal year 25-26. So we're gonna make a note here on the first page, it should read 26-27 versus 25-26. Duly noted?
Put that on the screen so that people can see exactly what we're talking about?
She don't have access to that because they gotta go from that side.
Okay.
But it is noted for correction. Any further question, comments, concern? Hearing none. The second one is our number 3, ordinance to approve fiscal year budget for 2020.
We didn't vote. Yes.
Right. Commissioner Isom?
Yes.
Commissioner Kennard? This is voting on item 2. Commissioner Warren?
Yes.
Commissioner Clark Griffin?
Yes.
Commissioner Fields?
Yes.
Commissioner Henderson? Yes. Commissioner Henry?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes.
And Mayor Muhammad?
Yes.
This brings us to our next separate item, which is number 3, ordinance to approve the fiscal year for 2025-26 budget.
It should be 26,
It should be a
27.
correction for 26 versus 2027. Duly noted, Madam Clerk.
Duly noted.
Duly noted. Is there any question, comments, or concern for item number 2? General Lady from 4th Ward, you recognize.
Okay, as I stated in the budget hearing, that I had a concern about the number 4, the finance director, Well, we did commend that to 6, well, we talked about 6 months, but yeah, if it's not 6 months, commend it to 6, change to 6 months instead of 10 months. That's my concern. Then it was on the non-union and the AFCSM and the police only getting 1%. Also, it was commissioner travel 1,600 and the mayor travel 10,000. Those are things I had issues with, so.
City Manager. She's referring to page 3 on the budget. The first one here, which was 10 months, back down to 6 months. So that's correct, right?
Yes. I
Okay,
mean, we talked about it already, so we don't need discussion. I was just saying those were where I had issues, and I wanted it to be, 3 to be separated, so we can vote on it.
Is there any other question, comment, or concern on the budget? Commissioner Fields?
I feel that there should be some budgeted funds for communications, meaning with the community as a whole, not for the city manager to have Nicholas Gunn posting what they discuss each week for $300. But there's no, I remember early on how I was even introduced was through Commissioner Henry in regards to a newsletter and different grassroots process to have maybe a door-to-door process. It wouldn't probably even be half of the amount to distribute a newsletter. It's just the fact that it's nothing budgeted for communications. And again, Nicholas Gunn serves as another staff for the city manager. In this regards, it's just for what he wants to put on social media.
Mayor?
So, I don't object to some funding for communications. It just would have to be done through a department as opposed to, there's no line item for a committee. So it would have to be under a department within the structure of city departments. So I don't know where the manager would, in consultation with the council, where he would want to put a line item or wonder what committee, not committees, pardon me, wonder what department it would go. But I mean, I'm not opposed. It should be something, because if Nick Gunn is working under or providing services for communication, whether it be social media, video, audio, then it certainly could be in a communications or under a line item could be put in the city manager's budget or in under some department for communication services. But that would be how, unless, I stand to be corrected of how it would go in a budget where it could be actually legally allocated. Ms. Hildebrand, could you please come to one of the microphones for the benefit of YouTube and...
Communications was budgeted last year. Not that anything was spent of any size, but we included it in the mayor commissioner's budget. And this year we have $3,000 in that line item. As you discussed, it was a line item within that budget. So we could keep it with the mayor and commissioners, because the commissioners would be spearheading the communications efforts. So there's $3,000 in there right now for that.
So the city manager has said that there is no communications budget and that he pays Nicholas Gunn from his budget. And that's been the situation prior to me even becoming a commissioner. That has been the conversation. And so we do have funds budgeted for communications.
I'm just asking questions.
So it is noted that there is $3,000 available for communication that is in the it's inside the commission budget.
But yet we over budget. This is why this be so confusing. I do not be trying to be petty, but it's almost like a big old elephant that we act like we don't see. Because you guys know he has said that we don't have any communications money and that he has paid Nick out of his budget of some funds he has. And then we get told this.
Mr. Chair.
Mayor.
So, this is why, this process is public and it's for discussion and, moving forward. Because the previous budget was done, as you know, last year. So going forward, which this is a new council and setting forth a new set of norms, it's now known that there is $3,000 in the city commission budget for communication. So that's good news, and I think that's something that we can move forward on.
So it's always something possibly available. Like if it wasn't for Rhonda, we wouldn't have known that we had budgeted for the past 2 years for a tax income, whatever role they would have whether it was going out to find tax revenue sources or things of that nature for the past 2 years that was not utilized. And the city manager does like what he does now is not chime in. He has nothing when it's time for him to actually put in something or have some accountability. Otherwise, it'd be like, can I add? Or there's one, let me correct. And it's just, that's not disrespectful, but the way how I'm speaking is, we ought to be ashamed of ourselves for the lack of accountability. And how did we not know that we had it budgeted for communications? Do we not all get the budget? We didn't get it or staff didn't get it last year? Or commissioners didn't get it before? Or we didn't know that we had a position for the income tax that could have helped us generate money for the funds we're using up?
Ms. Hildebrand.
At the Personnel and Finance Committee meeting every month, there's 5 pages of summary, and behind that are 40-some pages of detail by budget, by line item, that shows what every department is spending compared to the budget. You weren't part of the budget process last year, but if you look at the mayor and commission budget sheet that shows how much has been spent to date compared to the budget, you would see that it was underspent. I mean, and that's how it's communicated, is through all the documents that show what spending has happened year to date by line item.
Commissioner Fields.
That is great, and thank you. But when you ask your city manager and you're told there is no money, what do I do? And I do this. I'm like, when I see something, I try to bring it back. But what do you do when you're told that there isn't anything and the only way we're able to do Nick is because it's out of his budget? And everybody knows he said that.
Mr. Manager.
I did say that because I didn't realize the 3,000 was in there.
If you didn't know how,
Commissioner Henry.
I didn't know.
Honorable. We did get a budget calendar. And it started in April of 2026, went all the way to June 1st, 2026.
Correction, that's 2025.
Oh, yeah, 25, sorry. Well, I'm reading off of their paper, so usually for the last 2 years, we've been getting the budget at the last minute. We never get a chance to look at it and break it down from line item to line item. Now we have the opportunity. I would like for this budget to go back into committee for another reading and another understanding, and then maybe we'll have to be able to put some choice things in, or just agree that we're on the right track. So I'm asking that we table this to another committee.
Commissioner, I'm sorry, City Manager, can you respond to Commissioner Henry, please?
I'm trying to think of the timetable that we're on with Treasury.
Yeah, we can't, it just needs to be passed tonight. We can't go back because we're on a timeline with the Treasury in order to be consistent with the loan that I already signed for from being previously passed by this commission. So we don't have time to go back and do that, or it'll violate the terms.
It is noted for the record that we have $3,000 available in communications. Commissioner Henry?
I recognize that, but I also recognize when you're being hoodwinked and pencil whipped with paper. So I understand that, and I see it. And so now we are on another timeline that we got to approve this budget without even looking at it. Not even looking at to see exactly what it's saying and what it's going to do to the residents of Benton Harbor. So here we go again on a timeline that we got to do it. I don't like that. That doesn't sound good and it doesn't look good. But we have to do what we have to do. But for a whole 4 years, we asked for amended budget, and we just getting it. So you let me know, we've approved this budget, we get that $1 million from the state or whoever we're getting it from, information that we're gonna take state revenue money from us, and we don't even know how much, and it's not reflected in our budget. So, talking about a plan to fail, God.
Commissioner Clark?
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. As you all noticed that I spoke many times to us, and you can see from tonight that the snow job is up and the heat done hit it and the snow is melting. Now you can see what is going on. We've got to do better than this. And we need to get answers before we pass things, because it leaves us, every time we look around, we're in the red for something. 1 minute we are in the best shape we've ever been in, and now we're having a problem that we refer back to emergency manager, which was 20 years ago just about it, and we're still blaming them. What is happening as we go? So it's time for us to take a notice that the snow has melted and you can see the mess under it.
Mayor?
So as you all know, that budgets can be amended. Budgets can be, we can do a quarterly amendment. Come back in 3 months, look at the budget, look at the percentage of how it's been spent, questions that have been developed after further review, and the budget can be amended. So it's a live, moving document. However, as stated, per Treasury and per obligation agreement that was presented needs to be passed for us to be able to keep in step with our obligations and agreements.
Is there any more questions, comments, concern on the ordinance to approve the fiscal year for 2026-27 budget?
Call for the question.
Madam Clerk, call.
Commissioner Kennard? Commissioner Warren,
Yes.
Commissioner Clark Griffin,
No.
Commissioner Fields,
No.
Commissioner Henderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry,
Boy, this is a place between a rock and a hard place. And I'm blaming the city manager, and I'm blaming Mr. Commissioner Isom, because he didn't do his job as personnel and finance. I'm voting yes, but I'm voting it with distaste.
Commissioner Isom,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem,
Yes.
Mayor Mohammed.
Yes.
Next up, item on agenda is number 5, which is the resolution to accept the Michigan Department of Treasury FDCPT grant number 210180-26 for the purchase of Bobcat skid ladder. Is there any questions, comments, or concerns for number 5? Gentlelady from number 3rd Ward, Commissioner Henry, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. I saw this grant, and I saw that the Bobcat, so I did a little research on it. It is an excellent thing for us to keep our street sweeper intact. It'll do a lot of things. My question, one question is, do we need a driver's license to drive this Bobcat?
No. It's got to be trained.
You have to be trained, but you
Correct.
don't need
No, we don't need-
driver's license.
No. I can train you.
So that won't deter us if we
No.
can't find somebody with a driver's license. We can find somebody that could drive the Bobcat.
Correct. The Bobcat is very different than the front end loader.
Oh, I got you.
The
I got you.
Bobcat is a small utility tractor.
I got you. I read it real good. I saw that the leaf vac was on it, the snow blower was on it. It's got quite a few things, and I've seen us buy machines that never left downtown, and never went to the neighborhood. And I don't want to see this Bobcat do the same thing. I want to see it all over the city. We just paid close to $5,000 for the street sweeper to be fixed because we're using it incorrectly, and every time we do it, it breaks. So this Bobcat is going to fix some of our problems.
And clean our empty lots.
And so I'm glad to see that they went through this department that gave us a great price on it, and that we're going to get it with a grant. So it's not any money. Thank you.
Is there any more questions, comments, or concerns on line item number 5? Commissioner Fields?
I wanted the conversation to happen, which it has, in regards to the benefit for the community. That was the only reason I was separating it.
Any more questions, comments, or concern? Hearing none, Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Warren,
Yes.
Commissioner Clark Griffin,
Yes.
Commissioner Fields,
Yes.
Commissioner Henderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry,
Yes.
Commissioner Isom,
Yes.
Commissioner Kennard,
Yes.
Mayor Pro.
Yes.
Mayor Mohammed.
This brings us to our next separate line item, number 6, to replace the ladder of 55 with a 2026 Pearson pump. Is there any question, comments, or concern, number 6? Commissioner Henry?
I did some research on the little mini pumper, and it seems like it's getting a lot of other municipalities to look at it too. They want us to trade our ladder truck number 55. Doesn't have very much life in it left. I'm trying to see what kind of price that something like that, 2009 ladder would cost if you bought it used. So I think we might be making a good deal, because whoever buy our truck is gonna buy the headaches that we didn't want to take care of anyway. So But my problem is, I don't know what kind of agreement we have with the other municipalities. If we need things, they seem to be on board, but I haven't seen anything in writing to show me what they have to do, or what we have to do to work together, so that's scary to me until I read it. If it's not available, that's scary to me. I wanna know that St. Joe and Benton Township and all of us are working together. And, they're not gonna just drop from underneath us, and then that's happened in the past.
So,
I'm just making sure that those documents are there for us to read and to verify that who's accountable.
So Commissioner Henry, to answer your question short, we do have an agreement. It's called mutual aid. And Ben Township and St. Joe will continue to work together, and I'll make sure you get that agreement, because it has come through our committee where they respond together as collectively. And so Ben Township and St. Joe have newer ladder trucks, and that's the reason why we're making this request. So I will make sure you get that agreement in your hand. Commissioner Kennard?
Yes, I'd like to know, what is this truck used for? You said ladder?
No, so we currently have a ladder truck.
What is a ladder truck?
It goes up in the high rise, for example, Howard Towers. It goes up in the air, they can continue to fight a fire or bring someone down safely.
Okay.
So right now, our ladder truck is costing us too much money, and we only used it 7 times last year. So it's not beneficial to keep on having it in-house, the fire station right now, when St. Joe and Ben Township have brand new ones. So with having a pump truck, we can respond more to the dunes and other areas with that truck. So right now, we have different agencies we partner with mutual aid, and when you see a fire call, you're seeing St. Joe, Ben Township, Stevensville, so forth, and they're fighting the fires together. And so this piece of tool will make sure they have more at hands. So it's an even trade. So we're not selling more, not losing more. It's an even trade. And the minute we approve of this will be getting delivered to us within the next couple of weeks. Any other question, comment, or concern on this item? Commissioner Fields.
I would just like to commend our public safety, which is, police, fire, code enforcement, on just the relationships and advancements that they have for both, again, like the fire department, how we are utilized in so many different ways, as well as the training and the advantages that we take into consideration when training the police and different things of that nature. I love that we have such a great relationship with neighboring communities, and that we have a great representation beyond our city. And so I just want to commend the staff. So Chief, Deputy Clark, and Deputy Cass on just very efficiently running our public safety.
Are there any more questions, comments, or concern? Hearing none, Madam Clerk.
Ethel Clark Griffin. Commissioner Fields.
Yes.
Commissioner Henderson.
Yes.
Commissioner Henry.
Yes.
Commissioner Isom.
Yes.
Commissioner Kennard.
Yes.
Commissioner Warren.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes.
And Mayor Muhammad.
Yes.
This now brings to our staff communication, Director of Public Safety, Deputy Clark.
No report this evening.
City Attorney.
Very briefly, I would just like to encourage everybody to attend the next 2 committee meetings. There's going to be, I think, some exciting information about the Housing Commission and the city's role in the project at Harbor Towers and Bus Avenue Apartments. I think it's very exciting for all involved, and I would encourage everybody to pay attention and to be familiar with what's going on in those projects.
Madam Clerk.
Just wanted to let everybody know that Clerk Moore said that she was sorry that she couldn't make it in attendance tonight. She's on vacation, but she will be back in the office on this Thursday.
Thank you. Mr. Manager.
This evening.
Thank you. This now brings us to our communication from our commissioners. General Lay from First Ward, Commissioner Henderson.
I'd like to thank everyone for coming out tonight. There was a lot of information on the agenda. This chamber really should have been packed, specifically since we were talking about the budget on tonight. And there was some good conversations about many of the things that was going on. And so I just appreciate all of the residents who did attend and voice concerns of things that's happening in our city, and continue to come out, serve. She talked about the next two committees. On Wednesday, we have the Legislative Committee, which is the first Wednesday of the month, and that'll be happening on Wednesday. Thank you.
Thank you. General Lay from Second Ward, Commissioner Warren.
Thank you. I would like to thank everyone for coming out. And the only update I have is I do have a date for our community yard sale. This year, Pipestone is beautiful, so we shouldn't have any issues with getting people to come, but it'll be August 8th through August 9th, and it's at Mrs. Hull's property. And I don't have the address off the top of my head, but it's in the 600 block. I'll have the address at the next meeting, but again, it's going to be August 8th and August 9th. Hope to see everyone there.
Thank you. General Lay from Third Ward, Commissioner Henry.
I want to thank all the residents that are here, as well as on YouTube. Unfortunately, we've had our budget pushed down our throat again, and I'm asking that the chairman of Personnel and Finance actually review the budget in 3 months. No excuses. We can review the budget, and it will have to come out of committee. And if you can't find enough bond to do it, ask Commissioner Fields. She got them. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Kennard.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. I'd like to thank each and every one of you all that are here tonight and those that are listening in. And we got a chance to uncover and see a lot of things that we never have ventured off into. One of the things that I have stressed over the years that we need a finance director, someone that can keep us in tune with where the money is going. They direct that money coming in and going out. So this meeting has been very clear to me, understanding. Even when I ask questions, I've gotten a clear understanding because, as I'd like to applaud our Mayor Pro Tem, he seemed to have done a wonderful job. I'd like.
What do you mean?
Yes, but you did a wonderful job. It was clear. I understood when I asked the question. He took his time in explaining it, and that is so much help when a person that is not a rocket scientist like myself and is supposed to know everything. So, and when it's clearly and take me step by step, I feel a lot better because I understand. And then when you get a great understanding, you can have a better approach to voting in the best interest of your community. And that's what we were elected for. Thank you all, and you all have a blessed week.
Thank you. Commissioner Isom.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Thank you, everyone, for coming out tonight. We passed the budget just early, first time in a long time. Great job, commissioners. You know, the city still must move forward. Got a lot going on. We had the kite flying event a couple weeks ago. Had a good turnout. You know, the mayor been coming for 9 years, and he finally moved from a beginner to he can help people. What they call instructor, yeah, a kite instructor. He started instructing people after 9 years. He finally got a kite in the air. So you can see the pictures on Facebook. It took him. He was happy and he was ready. So we had a good time out there. And just for some information on June 9th, Tuesday, we'll be having a renaming of the library. So if you want to attend, it's from at 11:30 a.m. on Tuesday, renaming the library to Mamie L. Yarborough Ben Harbor Public Library. Thank you so much for coming. God bless you. and expect great things to happen in the city of Benton Harbor.
Commissioner Field?
Thanks, everyone, for coming, especially for the repeats. Just consistency is important. You're not in vain. And I still would like some better understanding or get a tight grip on how the county and the housing authority has 2-3 weeks or so to cut their grass. Resident has 2-3 days. How we, decided on that? Is it something in black and white or something that was just passed and not passed through the commission? In regards to Sam Rose Yates that's at 729 Highland, in regards to a vacant property next to her or a house that had burned and then it was just kind of pushed down. She has like raccoons, bass, trash, and trees falling over and things of that nature, and how the city manager and who did you say who came out to? In public, Mr. Meeks came out with her, and it's still, the situation remains. We should have a solution for that, so I will be sending an email. It won't be as long as some we have, but I'll be sending an email.
Point of order.
To be following up on that. And one of the things I want to say, and I feel like Commissioner Henderson would have liked this, I learned that at the Medic One meeting, that Township actually stated they weren't paying either. So we didn't have representation present. So I think that could have been a solidarity moment, and I feel like it's because we have not so much as pushed back, but just are requesting more, and not just, I was about to say, we're fighting back, we're not laying down, right? Or just maybe having some accountability from all forms. And actually, it's out of consideration for the city manager as well, because it's more of, it has to be his fault, he should have did this or that, but we have this situation now, it's happening really fast, can we have better clarity? And so I feel like we have maybe even inspired people to have more questions in association with that. And so, yeah, I am glad that also that Commissioner Henderson asked for clarity that it wasn't us providing a payment to them. And I'm not sure how we're going to move forward. They can be invited again to come to a meeting, but I wasn't addressed to change that. It was other commissioners that were spoken to, but expect great things. I think that we all are passionate. I don't know about no lions and stuff, but we all are passionate, and we just have to be united in our passions.
Thank you. So I'm going to be brief because I am actually 30 minutes late for work. So on June 13th will be the Juneteenth parade at 1 p.m. downtown Benton Harbor, and it will end with a celebration at City Center Park until 6 p.m. And then we also have the President Pillars having a 5K run, and I forgot the date. Other than that, I'm going to yield my time, and then Mayor Muhammad.
Yes, just like to echo what the other council has said about residents coming out. I'd like to commend the city manager and the staff for preparing a budget, and I must say that this is, in my recent memory, typically we're June 30th at the buzzer the last few times, but this time it was prepared rather swiftly. The state treasurer, again, Eubanks, was very positive, which was, as well as the deputy treasurer, were to supporting Benton Harbor. And as I stated and shared with her, that we're working through our challenges, and her response was that she was very confident that Benton Harbor, and they have no reason to think nor believe that we will not get through this together. So that was very positive. I had a chance to speak with Regina Strong, who also works in Eagle, where they have an additional $500,000 for the armory. So I'll be talking with the city manager about what we need to do to procure those funds to help with the continued renovation of our armory. June 18th, the basketball courts, tennis courts, Day of Impact, where Whirlpool Corporation, Benton Harbor Area Schools, and an army of volunteers will be beautifying that area. So park by park, block by block, you see the construction, you see the barrels out. Please obey the detours because it's for your safety. I know that it is sometimes inconvenient, but a lot of the money that we received in grant money has to be spent by 2026. So you can see a lot of work being done, and it will continue to be done. Thank you, Madam Clerk, Attorney, for mentioning the two developments, because we'll be in a position to not only receive revenue from the development for the Harbor Towers as well as Bus Avenue Apartments, but we'll be able to have nearly 20 to $25 million worth of renovations. So the people in those facilities can have a better quality of life. The reason I was in Lansing primarily was because Governor Whitmer invited a group of leaders around the state to participate in a Juneteenth celebration at the governor's residence, where she's the first governor to have a Juneteenth celebration at that home. So I did not want to miss that. But she was also very positive about Benton Harbor and its future.
Thank you. This next regular meeting will be June 15th, 2026 at 7 p.m. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Motion was made by Commissioner Fields and was supported by Commissioner Warren. Is there, Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Fields?
Yes.
Commissioner Henderson?
Yes.
Commissioner Henry?
Yes.
Commissioner Isom?
Yes.
Commissioner Kennard?
Yes.
Commissioner Warren?
Yes.
Mayor Pro?
Yes.
Mayor Muhammad?
Yes.
Motion adjourned.
Meeting adjourned.
Brian brought it up.